So we left Gloversville and came to Haddonfield, New Jersey. And this was a turning point because they had just changed the requirements for school psychologists, which I was in the state of New York. They had changed the requirements to a master's plus 30, which equals a doctorate.
Right.
So when I came here, that was it. Either if I wanted to be a school psychologist, if I wanted the license, I had to get those 30 credits. So I enrolled at Temple and started to get those credits. That was, well, we came here in 58. So somewhere around that time, I applied for the doctoral program in the School of Education, because all my stuff was in the School of Education. And people said to me, well, you're not going to have a PhD. And I said, well, so what? And they said, well, everybody has a PhD. So I said, well, my husband doesn't care and my mother doesn't know, so I might just as well follow. I went for the interview. I don't know that there were tests. I do know, maybe there was, I think Miller analogies. And in that, I came out very high because I'm very logical, or I was. But I had the interview with the dean of the School of Education. This is important. I was sitting there and he said, oh, Mrs. Miller, I see you're married. And I beamed and said, oh, yes. And then he said, oh, and you have children? Oh, yes, I have 2 children, David and Eve. Isn't that lovely, he said. And you have a job? I said, yes, I work for the Camden County Child Guidance Clinic. He said, lady, what more do you want? I was absolutely crushed. I left his office with tears. I don't know what hit me. I went into the elevator, and in the elevator was one of the professors that I had been, taking courses with. She said, what's going with you? And I told her. She said, you come to our department. She was head of the counseling department. And we'll get you into a doctoral program. Eleanor Isard, I think she's dead. So I did go, and that was a very, very rewarding and exciting time preparing for the doctor. It was a lot of work. We had a big kitchen, and we also had a separate dining room, in those days, space, in my wonderful house. And for 6 months, we did not eat in the dining room because all my books were there, all my stuff for the dissertation. I started the dissertation in October, and I got the degree in May.
Wow.
I mean, that was the intensity that I did. I worked every day. The kids would leave, somewhere in one of my, I've written it, the kids would leave for school, and I would sit down. I worked, but I didn't work every day. I worked at the Child Guidance School, maybe 2 days. So the days that I didn't work, you want me to continue?
Keep talking now.
The days that I didn't work, I sat down at the dining room table. I did the writing, and I had to do some outside research. I had to test. The dissertation was a study of achieving and underachieving 8th grade students and so forth. But it was very interesting because I coined some words. The groups were achieving, underachieving, reluctant learners is what I coined, and willing students. And all that was based on the relationship between the grade point average and the class and so on and so on and so on. And I just remembered, I was trying to remember the name of the dissertation that I wanted to do, I didn't want to do that dissertation. I wanted to do a personality study of achieving and underachieving women. And I applied here, there, and everywhere, including Association of University Women. And that was denied. And all that came to my mind because at that time I had been talking to Betty Friedan. And here's her book. And when I opened this up, I see the letter. And the letter relates to the doctoral dissertation that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a doctoral dissertation relating to women, and she says about her next book. You want to hear the whole letter that she wrote? Dear Mrs. Miller, thank you for your letter. Undoubtedly, I will be coming to Philadelphia sometime during the year. This is August 7th, 1965. 63, because I got the degree in 65. She tells me about my next book is going to be about women who have moved beyond the feminine mystique, so I will be interested in the material you gather about new problems, patterns of self-realization, etc., etc. And I had been discussing this with me, which was, I never got anything. Then she tells me she's going to be in Fire Island. Anyway, the book that she gave me, and I don't remember where, the inscription, she says, good luck to all us mutations. We need it. Signed, Betty Friedan. So, in a nutshell, and she's a writer, she says what we were. We were mutations.